Hi, I'm Tim Bradner. Welcome to Capitol Views, and welcome today to Julie Coulombe, newly elected House member from a South Anchorage district. Julie, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Tim, for the opportunity.
Uh, Julie, maybe we can start by just talking about your district. It's South Anchorage. It's is Lower Hillside a good way to describe it, or how would you describe roughly the boundaries?
Yeah, so it's lower, mid, and upper hillside. So with redistricting, it's between Abbott and Huffman from the new Seward all the way up the top of the hill to the trailheads. So we don't have Glen Alps, but we do go because of redistricting goes all the way up. That top of the district used to be with another district. So I have it goes from lower hillside all the way up to the top.
When you were campaigning, did you do a lot of door to door? You got to know a lot of the folks in the district?
Yeah, I really, really did. So I've lived in the district about 22 years. I've lived in the state almost 40 years, but in this house, we've raised our kids there. And I thought I knew the district, but when I started walking doors, I did get to know the district really, really well. It's a lot more diverse than people think, economically, politically. And it's really kind of a mix of different groups within one district. So I'm trying really hard to represent everybody, not just a certain part. But it's not, because of the redistricting, it's not as homogenous as you would think.
That's good, but going door to door is a good way to get to know get
So
not
great.
only your neighbors, but also your constituents. But
Yeah.
Julie, could you tell us a bit about your background, what
Hmm.
you've done professionally, and how long you've lived in Alaska, what you've done, that sort of.
Yeah, so my husband and I came up in the 80s. I was a UAA student. My husband was in the Army, so we were stationed here for 4 years. And so we did leave for a little bit because he was active duty. We ended up going into the National Guard here. My husband did so we could stay here and raise our family here. My background is in marketing and advertising originally. I took a break there to raise kids for a while, and then I came back into business management. And I really started getting interested in being involved in what was going on with the Anchorage Assembly just about 3 years ago. I've always been active in my community, but I think I was very concerned about what was going on around COVID, so that's how I jumped in. But my perspective is from a private sector business management perspective. I've never worked for the state before, but I have a lot of experience raising kids, trying to make ends meet, trying to shovel your driveway and get to work on time. All those things that we did for 20 years, just trying to make things work. And so I really have a heart for families in my district. With inflation and all that's going on, I just want to make things as easy, make things easier for them. It's a tough time to raise a family right now. So.
Yeah, Julie, uh, given your experience, what particular issues are you interested in Juneau in the legislature? What prompted you to run?
Yeah, so well, I would say the biggest thing that prompted me to run was in general, I felt like a lot of regular people's voice weren't being heard. There was a lot of people that had been in the system or worked in the government or were lawyers, and they were always running for office, and I just felt like regular people's voice never seemed to get much weight. And so I am definitely a regular person. Lived in Alaska a long time. I just wanted to have that voice. So my interest, I was on the Housing and Homelessness Commission in Anchorage. So I have a lot of interest in housing. I have a lot of interest in solving the homelessness issue. I do have a lot of interest and experience with corrections and public safety. And also education. So when I went door to door, education was the number one issue that people brought up to me. Now, fair enough, I was walking door to door when they didn't have buses going to the schools, so people were pretty upset. But those are my interests because those are the interests of the district too. But education is a hot topic here in Juneau for sure.
What is your own perspective on education, Julie? Do you just to maybe a couple of quick sound
Yeah,
bullets
yeah.
on what your thoughts are?
Yeah, so I basically comes from my own experience. My four children were in every kind of education system that I could find to make sure it was the best fit. So I'm big on school choice. I'm not anti-public education. I had kids that went to public schools, private schools. I homeschooled a couple for a while. So I'm looking for something where parents can get the best fit for their kids. And sometimes public school's not the best fit. So I want them to have opportunities to go where they need to go so their kids could get the best education they can find. So I think there's a lot of controversy around, the funding of public schools. But I support the teachers. I have a lot of teachers in my district. I know they work hard. I've worked in schools before. I want to support them as best I can. Try to get their try to make sure we're not losing more teachers than we need to. We've lost a lot of great teachers, and so my focus is trying to retain teachers and giving parents the choices they need to get great education for the kids.
Well, there's a lot of work to do in that area. Julie, what now that the House is organized, what committees are
Well, I'm on one committee, Tim, and that's the finance committee.
oh,
So,
finance?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, finance is they're just generally when you're on finance, you don't do any other committees because the workload on finance. But I'm excited about it because, well, number one, I'm the only Anchorage representative on finance right now. I don't know who from the minority will be putting on the committee, but it's heavy on the interior, and so I'm there to represent the needs of Anchorage, which I felt was really important, and so that's why I I grabbed that seat because we need to be represented. We're the biggest city in the state, so I wanted to make sure we had a voice there. So I'm prepping for that, and there's a lot of committees that I'm interested in that I will be giving input and possibly some bills, but my focus will be on the finance committee.
Yeah, and there's also subcommittees on the finance committee, so you
Correct.
can be on an education subcommittee of
Right.
several different agencies. Well, Julie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you
It's
so much.
been a pleasure, and we will look forward to talking more with you in Juneau. And
Yep.
thanks again.
Okay. Thank you so much.